Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining Bramasol's webinar series, this one focusing on leasing, SAP's Lease Administration by Nakisa, latest features and updates. We will get started in just 1 or 2 more minutes. Looks like we're getting a flurry of people joining the webinar, so we'll give them a chance to join on and listen in. All right, well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining the latest, again, in our series of 2017 webinars. This one is focused on the topic of leasing, primarily focused around ASC 842 and IFRS 16. We are joined by my friends and colleagues from Nakisa, and we will be talking about the SAP Lease Administration by Nakisa and the latest features and updates. Also joining me is my colleague Susanto Bordaloy, who heads our leasing practice. Susanto brings many years of experience to the table from E&Y and is our expert on how to run leasing projects. And he will be speaking at the end about our laser methodology. So let's get started. I am John Froelich. I am your moderator. And I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to be here with Naveed Parzra, who represents Nakisa. He is the Senior Manager for Marketing for Nakisa, and Zaina Daba, who is the Solutions Consultant, and will be giving you a sneak peek, if you will, or a look at the latest Nakisa solution, the 4.0 version, which I think you'll enjoy seeing. Susanto Bordaloy, as I indicated, is our Associate VP for our leasing practice. Brings many years of experience to the table from E&Y and heads our leasing practice, and we'll be talking about our laser methodology. We'll go through welcomes introductions, which I've just done, some housekeeping, overview of the leasing and key issues by Naveed. We'll see a demo of SLAN 4.0. We'll talk about the leasing transition methodology from Susanto. And we will wrap up with some Q&A. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded. You will be able to view it from our homepage, which I'll show you how to do in a moment. You can ask questions throughout the session. Right here on the console, there's a questions area. We've already had 1 or 2 great questions so far, and we will continue to respond to those questions. You can tweet us at #SAPLeaseAdmin and talk to us throughout the broadcast. And again, as I pointed out, you can download our webinars from our homepage. You can do that here on our resource center where I've circled. In addition, you can go down here on our web page to view the webinars, see some more information about news and events. And if you want, you can reach out to us by pressing here and requesting a demo. So with that, I just want to introduce the topic overall. Currently, we are been involved heavily in the revenue recognition topic. Many companies are focused on the IFRS 15 and ASC 606. But following quickly behind that is a new series of regulations, ASC 842 and IFRS 16, which focus on leasing. And we've gotten a lot of questions. Thank you. Hopefully that will work better. I guess there was a pause in the screens. Hopefully you guys can see the screens. So I will quickly, let me go back for you folks. Let's talk about, again, the housekeeping items. Just a reminder, you can ask questions throughout. Tweet us at #SAPLeaseAdmin. Again, here's our website where you can get information about the webinars, request a demo, or join our resource center and get ebooks and downloads. I apologize. So again, what we'll do is we'll turn it over to Naveed and Zaina, who will take us through the Nakisa solution and the leasing. But before we do that, I'd like to quickly introduce a poll. So let's do that. So we'd like to ask you, as we get started, where are you on your leasing journey? If you guys can go ahead and vote. We'll take a minute or so to do that. All right, we have about 65, 70% of folks. We'll hold it up in a couple of more seconds. All right, let's close that out. So Naveed and Zaina and team, looks like the voting is in. 47% of people who are on the webinar haven't started their project yet. 11% are setting requirements. 17% of you are involved in your assessment. 14% beginning your project, and only 1 in 10 is well on their way to a project. So with that, let me turn this over to Naveed, to you, and we can get started.
Thank you very much, John. Just give me a second. We're going to show our screen. Should be coming through. Great. So hi, everyone. My name is Naveed Kazra. I'm a Senior Marketing Manager at Nakisa. In a past life, I was involved in pre-sales and field operations for Nakisa's finance line of business. And it's actually interesting with these poll numbers, because I remember a few years ago, when we first started getting this buzz about the standards, there were so many questions about how fast the market would move and how quickly people would adopt. And I think taking a look at the polls, it's become clear that a lot of people are kind of taking a more cautious approach to adoption, which has obviously been reflected by the market. So I'm actually just going to take a very quick overview just to recap the standards in the current situation, and then I'm going to pass it over to Zaina. So the agenda for the Nakisa piece is relatively quick. I'll just start off with a leasing landscape. Then we'll pass over to Zaina for a solution overview. She's also going to cover the key enhancements in version 4.0 of lease administration by Nakisa, and then we'll close off with a demo before handing back to Sasanto. Now, looking at the leasing landscape, the first thing I want to do is just recap the standards for those that may not be familiar. So a couple years ago, the FASB and IASB, which is the International and American Standards Boards, basically released these new standards. They were published somewhat recently, a couple years ago, and the effective date is coming relatively quickly. We're talking about end of 2018 and the beginning of 2019. Now, describing these standards is actually quite easy. The old standards, IAS 17 and ASC 840, within the context of those standards, leases reported off the balance sheet, they were just typically disclosed as notes in the financial statements. Now, the change to the new standards, again, is very easy to explain. Now we're capitalizing all our leases and they're recorded as assets and liabilities. The reality is that this simple sounding change is going to have and is having a massive impact on businesses and how they account for their leases. We're talking about disparate processes that are kind of spread out throughout the organization now having to come together. And I think there's some estimates that have said that we're talking about a $3 trillion global impact of all of these leases now being reflected on the balance sheet. So it really is a significant change. Now, when we look at what we have to do in order to adopt the new standards, based on best practices and kind of the conversations that we've had with our customers, this kind of table in front of us shows at a very high level the process that most companies are going to have to go for to achieve compliance. Now, obviously, there are some organizations that, due to the nature of their business, are not very lease heavy. So, for example, if you have a total of, let's say, 5 leases for real estate in your organization, this timeline would obviously not apply. But for the majority of large organizations and lease-heavy organizations, there are a few steps that we have to go through. The first one is an assessment of your current processes. This means you have to understand internally who are the people that are going to be involved in this project. You have to educate your stakeholders and executives, your business leaders, and you have to start your basic technical assessment. How many leases do you have? Where are they? Things like that. In the next step of that, in the planning phase, which is where we think a lot of people are currently going through in the second half of 2017, this is where you actually go through and do an analysis and inventory of your leases, your processes, your IT systems, things like that. Over the course of a leasing project, this is the stage where you'd actually start looking at solutions, assuming that you've gathered your business and technical requirements. Now, because the go-live date for these standards is the end of 2018 or beginning of 2019, that effectively gives you a little under a year over the course of 2018 to actually implement your solution, train your users, and begin the adoption process. So this is kind of a high level where we're talking about what are the standards, how will you adopt them, and how do you actually go live with the solution. Now, obviously, I'm a little bit biased, so we think lease administration by Nakisa is the solution that can do this for you. So I'm going to pass it over to Zaina now, who's going to go through a quick introduction of what is the solution for those of you that are not familiar with it. So how does it work? And then we're going to go into the actual enhancements for 4.0 and then to a demo.
All right, thank you very much, John and Navid. So for the solution overview, we just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what SAP Lease Administration by Nakisa, or SLAN, is, what the solution is built to do. So what does our solution do? In this slide, we will look at the 3 different sides or aspects of SLAN. So first of all, we're purpose-built to address the new standards and to be compliant. Also, our solution allows users to manage their lease portfolios and handle different types of contracts on day-to-day basis. So that being said, it's also designed to handle the accounting based on the new standards and the existing standards as well. And of course, in terms of analytics and reporting, SLAN provides the users and executive management visibility to transactional and disclosure reports. So those are really our 3 pillars. So we're able to handle leases, to comply with the standards, and to do reporting. In terms of solution benefits, we just wanted to focus on the different buckets of the benefits that SLAN offers. So first of all, it will help you reduce costs by avoiding any penalties for not being compliant. And it'll also allow you to have different alerts set up so you don't miss any payments for your vendors. And there's also more visibility on your financial statements and basically what is the lease impact on your balance sheet and other financial statements. And of course, everything is tracked within the audit trail. So every step of the way is being recorded. So this will enable you to be more compliant and to have better reporting in this case. And it is a simplified solution to handle all your leasing needs and to post your interest accruals and invoices. So it simplifies all the business process in this case. And it is also a powerful tool in terms of integration with SAP. So we're able to push and pull master data, and this will allow you to go live faster. All right, so what does the life cycle look like in SLAN? Here are a few steps that will get you familiarized. And going through the demo today, we will be able to cover those steps accordingly. So the first step is the lease determination questionnaire. So this will help you figure out if your contract is a lease or non-lease. The second step is the data capturing section. So over here, there are different ways to bring in the contract information. So this could be done manually through data input or through our Excel import tool to allow you to mass upload contracts or via third-party integrations. Now, once the contract information is in, the terms and conditions would have to be completely identified and finalized, and then the contract will get classified, and this is when we start generating entries for accruals and payments. And of course, if any event takes place throughout the lease lifecycle, such as a reassessment due to an extension option or an early termination, the solution is designed to handle all those scenarios. Okay, so Eslan is natively integrated with SAP. And here are the different modules that we could connect to out of the box. So we have general ledger, asset accounting, accounts payable, and material management. And just to reiterate over here, we are able to push and pull data. So we leverage the master data from SAP in order to avoid any data duplication. And we also write to the transactional tables via live feed, and we're able to post directly to the ECC system.
Hey Zaina,
Right.
there's
Yes.
a quick question. Can you explain how exactly Nakisa fits within the portfolio, if you will? For example, can you explain Nakisa is a solution extension. What does that mean, and how does Nakisa fit within SAP?
Hi, John. This is Naveed. I'm gonna take that very quickly. So, just to explain, Nakisa is obviously its own organization. The Solution Extension Partnership is a very selective, invitation-only partnership that SAP offers to certain vendors, and the result of that partnership is basically a software that is reviewed and validated by SAP. So it's sold and supported by SAP, meaning that if you wanted to purchase the product, you would actually go to your SAP sales rep to get the specific solution. So it is considered an SAP solution or an SAP product. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Naveed and John, once again. So in terms of reporting, the solution was designed to handle all the reporting needs for different levels of audiences, so all the way from lease administrator to executive management. And that being said, all the reports that we have were designed to provide the user with what is required by the standards. All right, and throughout today's session, we will be covering some of those reports throughout the demo. All right, so what's new with the lease administration by Nakisa? Over here, we're looking at the major changes that were done to our release. So of course, this is a major release for us. And what we wanted to cover was the major changes or areas of enhancements of what changed with you today. All right, so first of all, there's enhanced compliance with the new standards. So we could make use of parallel accounting in SAP. So this includes ledger and account-specific approaches. So this was specifically designed for our clients that wanted to have postings for both IFRS and US GAAP at the same time. Second enhancement is better control. So this is in terms of lease creation and management with cascading information or fields from the master lease agreement level to the contract level. So this was put in place to allow you to have broad or narrow master agreements in terms of currencies, company codes, and different hierarchies. And you can decide what you want to bring down to the contract level from the master agreement. Third point is strong central governance. So we enable better control with multi-layered approval process. So many of our clients have very strict internal controls in place, and especially with regards to segregation of duties. So this enhancement was put in place to fit with their needs specifically. The fourth point is integrated questionnaire. So we've added this as the first part of contract creation. So this will allow you to determine if your contract is a lease or non-lease. So after speaking with a lot of our clients, we were made aware of how crucial this first step is. And the last step is broader integration with different systems. So of course, we're natively integrated with SAP, so we've enhanced that integration. We're also able to connect with third-party systems, and we have enhanced S4 compatibility. So that being said, many of our clients have both SAP and non-SAP systems, and we put this enhancement in place in order to satisfy and integrate with different systems at the same time. All right, so in terms of key enhancements. So in the last slide, we wanted to cover the different, the top different key enhancements that were done. Over here, we're just looking at the key enhancements and more specific features that were added. So in terms of new functionality, we're able to, we've added a lot more flexibility in management of new lease events. So this includes multiple lease activations, reassessment scenarios, casualty, replacement or return transfer of assets, evergreen payments, and early termination and buyout. So as you can see, there's a lot more flexibility in terms of management of new events that take place. We've enhanced our copy feature, so we're able to copy any object within the lease lifecycle from MLA to lease component. We've enhanced our mass upload capability. So at any point in time, if you want to upload any object within the lease lifecycle, you're able to do that. And we've also added a job scheduler. So this is for automating batch postings in terms of posting your interest accrual entries and your invoices. You're able to schedule those jobs in advance to run either every 5 minutes or once a day or once a month. And of course, we've added new concepts such as componentization to break down your assets into multiple assets, and we've also added a bulk asset option in order to group all your assets together. So in terms of enhanced functionality, we focused a lot on adding new terms and conditions. So we'll cover some of those terms and conditions in our demo today. We have improved code block. So we're able to add more than just a cost center. So we have WBS, functional area, business area, and this could be actually maintained at the unit level. And we have distribution of different accounts for the non-lease portion. So we're able to define our non-lease categories. And when we have a non-lease amount, we're able to split that out by percent or by amount portion. And of course, we facilitated our transition accounting or report of initial values at go live for transition accounting purposes. And we've enhanced the overall user experience, of course, which is the most important part. All right, so that being said, we're ready to start taking a look at an overview of SLAN 4.0. All right, so what we're looking at over here is the landing page of SAP Lease Administration by Nakisa 4.0. We're looking at a summary of all our master agreements. So over here, we're able to drill down to our master agreements. However, on the left-hand side menu, we're also able to access different landing pages. So from the menu, we could click on landing pages, and from here, we could navigate to different landing pages, such as contracts, and we're able to view different levels from here. We're also able to access different reports and different dashboards from here as well. So I'll go back to the master agreement. As you could see on the left-hand side over here, we've enhanced our filter capability. So we're able to select the filter that we'd like to choose from. As you can see, there's a lot of options. And if I just wanted to create my own filter profile, which goes along with my security role, I'm able to create my profile from here and have it saved for the next time. All right, so from the master agreement over here, I'm looking at the list. And as you can see, we've added a new hierarchy. So we have company code, lease area, business unit, lease department, and lease group. So it's a new hierarchy or breakdown of our master agreements. From here, I'm also able to view the user that this contract or this master agreement was created by. On the right-hand side, I have my action center. So it's basic drill downs to different statuses of different lease objects. So from here, for example, I'm able to drill down to all the open contracts. And in order to go back to the master lease agreements, I can simply click on the master agreements. So from here, I'm able to add additional statuses based on my preferences and my configuration, of course. All right, so on the top over here, I'm able to create a new master agreement. And from the three dots that we're looking at, this is our menu, which we're able to navigate. So if I click on this menu option, I'm able to create different contracts for this master lease agreement, to upload a contract via our Excel upload, to copy this object, which is the master agreement. I'm also able to open discussion log, view the audit log, and get online help. So the solution was designed to allow for interactivity between users. So if I click on open discussion, I'm able to view the comments between different users. So in this case, I have one comment, and I'm able to see the date and timestamp when it was entered. So going back over here, as you can see, I could access the audit log, and the audit log has been enhanced. So we're able to filter based on different actions that were taken. And from here, we're able to view the full details. So the change date, which includes the date and timestamp, the action that was done, so whether it was something new or edited, the object type, so contract with the object name, contract name, and the user it was changed by. Furthermore, if I wanted to see what change was done, I could simply click on the edit action, and from here, I'm able to view the original value and the new value. In order to go back over here, as you could see, I have export to Excel. This functionality is available for all the pages that have grids within them. So from here, I could simply click on export to Excel, and the system will provide me with this box indicating that there are 47 records that will be exported. I could simply click on generate, and from here, the system will update the notifications to tell me that I have a new pending download. I could simply click on that, and from here, I'm able to access the download in Excel. And as you can see, we're able to maintain the same format from the solution. So once again, this is available within all the pages that have grids within them. So going back to our landing page over here, if I just click on this master agreement, as you could see from here, I have the definitions page, the partners, and contract list. So if I click on contract list, I'm able to view all the contracts that belong to this master agreement. And from here, I'm able to view all the different objects for each contract. So for example, I have this contract with the lease component of vehicles, asset class, which was used. And it has one activation group of trucks. And we're able to view that there are 2 units. And we're able to view the date, the start date, and the end date. So from here, I'm able to drill down further and click on the lowest level, which is the activation group. And within the activation group, I'm able to view the master agreement, the contract, the lease component that this belongs to. I'm also able to view the status. So this is an active lease, and my contract phase is operating. As you can see in the toolbar for each page that's available, we have the step % complete and the overall % complete. So the step complete represents the page that we're in, how much of the mandatory fields have been completed, and the overall shows us the % complete of the entire object. So for each page available, we also have the workflow icon. So if I simply click on that, I'm able to view the entire workflow, and the solution will highlight where I'm at right now. And currently, as you can see, I have a red highlight around the active, so this is the step that I'm at. So in order to navigate back up, I could simply click on my master agreement, and from here, this will take me back to the original master agreement that I was in. So looking at the master agreement over here, this is the general information section. And as you can see, from here, we're able to enter a lot of the legal information. We're also able to enter a target value, so just a budgeted amount that we have for our master agreement. We're able to enter a currency at this level, which will cascade down to all the contracts below. It is not mandatory, so if I wanted to have different contracts with different currencies, I'm able to control that from here. And in the hierarchy, as you can see, there is a new hierarchy in place. So we have lease area, which could be geographical region, and we have the business unit. Both of these fall above the company code. And below the company code, we have the lease department and the lease group. So those could be configured based on the user preferences. So at the bottom over here, we have some signing information. And as you can see, each of the fields, they have tagging that's allowed or tagging enabled to them. And we also have the comment feature. So as you can see over here, I have a blue highlighted comment, so it means that I have a comment here. I'm able to view the comment that was entered. So we're able to upload different documents. In order to view them, I could simply click on my viewer over here. And from here, I could look at different pages within my document. So over here, I've referenced that my place of signature is on the 13th page. I'm also able to add tagging. So if I click on the blue tag over here, I'm able to view that this was tagged on the last page and the date in this case was tagged. In order to do tagging, this is very simple. I could choose the field that I would like to tag, and from here I can click on it and basically just select my tag for the piece of information that I'm looking at. So this enables better control for audit, so internal audit or external audit purposes. So when we have our master lease agreement, we're able to view the different contracts. So if I click on the contract, I'm able to view the first step, which is the lease determination questionnaire. So as you can see from here, these are the questions that are driven from the board. And we're also able to add further questions to fit business needs. And from here, I could add additional comments and tagging if I wanted to. So based on the way that I've answered the questions, I get a suggested lease type. So based on the lease type, of course, different logic is driven. So from here, we're able to just add additional definition to our contracts, and we're able to just define our partners and different accounting setups. So in the lease component list, this is where we're able to define our asset class. So it's the vehicle's asset class along with the fair market value, the quantity, the useful life, and we could also decide on to include other features or not, so such as componentization, bulk asset, and asset retirement obligation. So this is all controlled at the lease component level. And in the terms and conditions, this is where we set up terms and conditions. So we have a lot of terms and conditions that could be added. In this case, we have two which were set up. So we have the base rent, which is $300 and $50 of non-lease amount. We could define our first payment date and our expected terms and conditions start date. So from here, I'm able to just define the percent or amount breakdown of my non-lease amounts. So as you can see, I have 8 categories, and I'm able to define more if needed. Each one of them is mapped to a different GL account. And from here, I could choose my portion. So in this case, I have 100% allocated to insurance. So once I define my contract and lease component, I could then view my activation group. So activation groups could be considered as mini leases within a contract. So this is when it could be served for many different purposes. So for example, if you have a contract of 20 vehicles, 5 of which you're ready to start capitalizing or starting the lease for today, and the rest in a month from now, then you're able to set up 2 different activation groups. So they're really a group of units that have the same terms and conditions. So as we can see over here, we're able to view the details that were brought down from the contract and lease component level, and they were just carried down to the activation group level. And in the terms and conditions, this is where we're able to view all the terms and conditions that have been entered, and we could simply select which ones we are likely to exercise. So in this case, we decided to exercise the base rent, however, not the extension option. If I click on the classification, I'm able to view the system recommended classification and the confirmed classification. And from here, I'm able to enter the carryover balance for transition accounting purposes, as well as view my contract summary. So as you can see from here, I have my main accounting standard as IAS and my alternative accounting standard as US GAAP. In the unit details, we're able to view the units that have been set up. And from here, I could actually access more details with regards to this unit, and I'm able to make some changes as well. Okay. So from here, I could also modify my cost center if needed, and additional cost objects. So this includes business area, functional area, tax code, and tax jurisdiction. So that being said, in order to view my asset details, I'm simply able to click on Show Asset Master Data. And from here, the system will drill down to SAP. So we could have this configured as single sign-on, or we could have it configured as the user entering their user name and password. So through the power of single sign-on, we're able to drill down to SAP, view our asset, and from here we could manage our fixed assets. We could also view our recognition entry. So from here, since we have two different standards, we're able to view two different entries. We're able to view the entry details, and from here we could also drill down to SAP and view the document details. And of course, the reference ID, this is our contract number. So that being said, the last thing would be to look at the schedules that we have in place. So for each schedule, we're able to view the different methods that we have assigned, so the different standards. We're also able to access different schedules for different years or all years. And we're also able to access at different levels. So as you can see, the schedules are available at the unit level from here. So we're able to view the total payments, the lease liability amortization schedule. We're able to view non-lease amounts. So in this case, we had some non-lease. And we're able to view all columns and the postings. So if I simply click on the postings over here, I'm able to toggle between my different standards, and I'm able to view what was posted. So typically this would be done through a job scheduler, and we could simply access the entry by clicking on it. And from here, we could drill down to SAP. So that being said, from here, we're able to access all our entries for invoices and accruals. So from here, we could also access our reporting functionality. So in the reporting, I could go to the main menu, and of course, there are different reports available. I could simply click on the report from here, and I could view my dashboard for disclosures. So as you can see, we have the filters that are available. So you could filter your dashboards based on different options or different fields within the solution. As you can see, each dashboard is actually interactive. So from here, we're able to click on a specific year, and this will update all the other schedules accordingly. And we could also remove the filter that we've added. We're able to view the reports based on table view or based on graphical view. And from here, I'm able to also choose one report per column instead of two in this case. So the first report shows us all our balance sheet entries. In the second report, we're looking at all the different payments. So we have the minimum lease payments, how is it broken down, interest versus interest paid versus principal paid, excuse me. And at the bottom, we're looking at the expenses. So of course, we're looking at depreciation, non-lease payments, indexed lease payments, and average lease expense. And of course, we're able to toggle between different currencies. So this is picking up from your ECC system based on the currency, the rate that it was being used, and the date that it was last updated. All right, so that being said, we just had a general overview of the entire lease life cycle very quickly and just took a quick look at reporting.
So thanks very much. I think we'll hand it back to the Bramasol team, Susanto and John.
Yes, thank you, Naveed. Actually, there's while we have you on the line, there's a couple of quick questions. So let's touch on those, and then we'll jump over to Susanto. Quick question for you is around configuration. Several people asked the question, can I configure all of these screens based on different roles in the organization, so a different view or different screens for a lease administration individual versus a manager versus an executive?
Yeah, so there's two answers to that. So first of all, the solution is based on a role-based security model that leverages the existing securities you have set up in SAP. So obviously, when you access the solution, you're able to see the data and screens and actions that are available to your specific role. That is configurable. We're also able to configure almost all of the existing screens, dashboards, and reports to include additional fields, and that can also be secured by role.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the other one that's a question, and maybe what we'll do is I'll hold this question, but Susanto, when we get to talking about the laser methodology, it'll be good for you to talk. Several questions have come up about the fact that this is not only a change to the P&Ls and the balance sheet, but it's also a huge effect, if you will, on the organization itself. So, you know, when we get to that, if you could touch on that, that would be great. One more question. What are the deployment options, cloud versus on-premise?
Yeah, so the solution is it's quite flexible. So there's 3 different deployment paths. We can deploy on-premise, in the cloud, and hybrid. With regards to cloud, the solution is S4 compatible, can also be deployed onto SAP Cloud Platform, and there is also the Nakisa Cloud option. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility to fit the deployment within the context of your own technology and IT strategy.
All right. Well, thank you for that. All right. Before we transition over, we have one more poll that we'll run quickly. And we'll launch that poll. How would you characterize your leasing situation? Do you have mostly operating or movables leases, mostly real estate leases, combination of both, or not sure? All right, a few more seconds. All right, with a minute, we have about 2/3 of the people voting. We'll close that poll out. Most of the folks who answered the question is mostly operate. 34% answered movables leases, operating and movables leases. 44% had a combination of both, and 3% were real estate only, with 19% I don't know. So thank you all for that answer. With that, I am going to transition over to my colleague, Susanto Bordeloi, to talk a little bit about our laser methodology and the issues and some of the issues and challenges that we face in working with customers. So, Susanto?
Thank you. John, if you can share your screen, then...
There we go.
Yep, fantastic. Thank you. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone here. Thank you so much for joining this call. My name is Susanto Bordeloi, and I'm the head of the Lease Accounting Solutions at Bramasol. Just to give you a little bit background is why is it important here is I carry almost 20 years of finance transformation experience. As you heard my colleague John mention earlier, I worked with Ernst & Young and IBMs and other companies before. So, and why is it required is these projects are very, you need to have experts who has done it before, who knows how to do the solution, how to deliver the product. So it takes a lot of deep background knowledge, understanding this. So it is the accounting is new, the process, it impacts the process, and which in turn impacts the way you are doing your daily operations. So it impacts finally your systems. So that's why you need to have a strong background of those process and leading those kind of projects there. So at Bramasol, we have an approach. The project methodology is called LASER, which means lease administration solution engagement roadmap. And it is very focused on getting your IT, accounting, and business teams involved and engaged from the initial phases of the life cycle. As you can see on your screen right now, our project is methodology is a hybrid between a waterfall and an agile method. So you can see we start with the assessment and project preparation. And I'll be honest, one of the things I heard when John, we are doing the polling questions, and we see that 47% of you have not started, 11% just setting the requirements, 17% is doing the assessment, and 14% beginning the project, and looks like very 11% well on your way of the project implementation. So guys, only message to you, for those who have not started, you should do now. You know, you think that you have a lot of time, but no, you won't believe the lot of complexities involved, starting from the data migration transition, designing the solution, how you integrate the system to talk to each other with your existing ERP, whether it's SAP, Oracle, Excel, or hard copies. So there are a lot of complexities are there in your project. So we typically start with the project assessment and project preparation. Some of the things that we do in this project, some of the key activities include very focused project approach, like the project kickoff. We review your lease. We have a lease assessment where we can define the complexity of your project, whether it is high, medium, or low. We have that way, having answered to that questionnaire, help us determine the complexity of the project. And we have a, the data migration is a big piece of work, which I want to stress from right on. You see on your screen the yellow bar that starts from beginning and goes all the way down. So data migration and transition is a big scope of the project, where we identify where the data is. We have seen while talking to our clients, their data is in any form, Excel, sometimes in, somewhere in their drawer, hard copy, and sometimes even in their brains. So we need to take this out and put it in one place. We need to have a approach how we collect the data in one standard format across the board. So one point I'll touch upon, as John was mentioning earlier, that it is not just how it affects the organization. So it's a big effort. If you think about it, it started with an accounting change. Now the accounting change drove a lot of process change, and in order to adapt to the process change, you have to do a lot of system changes. So system changes in a sense, how you're currently it is all in your footnotes. Now just transitioning or making it available on a balance sheet, you have to do a lot of things, because those gets finally reported out to your government as well as your auditors, and then your business investors. So you need to make sure you are well prepared, you have a good process in place, and you have the solution experts who can deliver the solution. So that's why it is a big change. It's not just collecting the data and then putting it in one solution. It drives a lot of segregation of the duties, in the sense, the way we are doing things right now will be changing the way you have to do in the future. So segregation of data duties will be changing. You will be using new transactions. You will be using new reporting, as you saw Gina and Naveed was explaining in their demo. The reports will be brand new, and in the way you see the granular details of those leases will be different. So so we start with the assessment phase there. Now we go to the blueprint or solution demo, where what we do is, this project, as I said, is an agile and a hybrid nature. So we defined a project into multiple sprints based on the business prioritization. We work with your accounting business to identify the complexity and urgencies of those requirements, and then we put it into multiple sprint cycles. What we do is we design, we document, we design, we understand, we document, design, and play it back to your business and IT community so that your team get a flavor of the system, how their future transaction or future segregation will be different in the future. So you can see the system as we are designing. You can see the system, how it looks, and that way we can help you to answer some of the questions, as well as your users are getting trained as we are making progress on those sprint cycles. So that is very important. The bulk of the thing that I want to stress is the realization. So realization is what's happened is after we define those requirements or we identify the number of sprint cycles that will be required for your project, we then start designing and providing demo to your business. And some of it, what happens, we have seen when we talk with our clients, some of it is nice to have feature like reporting. They may have BW in their landscape. They may have BPC in their landscape. They may want to pull data from this system to make sure data can be pulled out from the BW or BPC system. So we need to make sure those prioritization is well vetted right up front, so that this is a compliance driven project. So most of the requirements is always like, it's high. It cannot be nice to have. So we define that designing process in an iterative cycles in the realization phase. Now we come to in the final preparation. We typically understand what is the background job, when can we have the final cutover task, identify key stakeholder communication, the end user training, approval, go no go decision. All those are part of the activities that takes place in the final preparation cycle. So this is a lot of some of the things you can see, like if something is you're putting in a balance sheet, you need to make sure you have all the stakeholders from the CFO organization as well as your CIO organization agreed to it before we push it or before we go live with the solution. But the last but not the least is the go live phase and hypercare. What we do is once we go live, after we get the approval, we go live with the we scope in project, and then what we also look for is how we can help you with the process optimization. Some of the things are bad jobs, may take longer time. Some of the report may be tweaked to make it better, as well as we also support your at least 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes, it depends on the project nature as well as the client requirements. Sometimes companies wants 2 weeks of overlap between our team members and their own team, versus I have seen some clients asking for 4 to 6 weeks of overlap between our team and your team. So that's where we do the knowledge transfers. Everything happens to make sure your team is well equipped to support your steady state environment. So that's our project methodology. The 3 bars you can see on the project administration, it goes from first all the way to end, because this is a lot of business change, process change, accounting change. So to make sure all the stakeholders are committed, and we have a appropriate project methodology in place from day one all the way to until go live. The second is we are seeing issues tracking and monitoring or reporting. We need to make sure when we define these sprint cycles, we make note of any issues, escalations, anything that is not working, so that we get the business input and we design the solution around it to best fit the business requirement. So it goes from, again, it starts from day one on the project until it go live. Data migration, again, I will again stress a lot of high importance here, because data migration is a big piece of the effort. And Nakisa solution actually comes up with a with a tool to load the data, but we also have an in-house tool developed within Bramasol how to help with the data complexity, how we can collect the data in a one standard format, what is the complexities of your leasing, so that you can get your data all collected in a standard documented way, so it's easier to load it, and as well as it's easier to interpret those lease documents. So as I said earlier, I'll just recap with it saying that this project, I have seen it myself with a lot of clients. They have a lot of concerns about how we run the project, because they do not have their own practice in-house. So we come in as the solution expert, process expert, to help them expedite this solution engagement roadmap. John, over to you. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer.
No, Susanto, that was great. One of the questions that has come up, and you and I have been on many customer calls before, as we all know, both the SLAN product and lease administration in general for ASC 842 is a new topic, very similar to RevRec that is fairly new. This is a very new topic. Can you talk a little bit or just briefly touch on the experience that your team has? I know you've been working very hard to hire very experienced individuals who have background in lease accounting, both from a real estate and operating perspective. So just quickly touch on that if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. So I'll tell you a little bit about the company, Bramasol, what we do. We are the office of the solution. So what it means is our team is comprised, we are very focused on what we do. So when it's the office of the CFO solution, you can think about things that keeps the CFOs awake, in a sense, like they have to comply, they have to make sure they produce results and meet the Wall Street and the investors always keep them happy, right? As well as complying to those regulations. So having said that, in this, the team that I have within our Bramasol, we have a practice for Nakisa to support the Nakisa solution as well as the real estate management solution. So my team comprised of with an average of 15 plus years of SAP, deep SAP, not just SAP experience, with deep accounting, SAP, and solution architects that knows the accounting, the system impacts that are caused by the accounting changes. So they can tell you exactly, okay, it relates to fixed assets, it's relates to asset accounting, it's related to master data migration, it relates to the program management in general. So there are a lot of, my team comprises those skill sets, and that's why we also have in-house system that will help to, if certain clients wants to do a demo real quick, we always are happy to provide a demo in our system to help them absorb what it means to them. As well as we also have project accelerators that helps to accelerate this implementation method. So we have artifacts, we have things of the business requirement documentation, requirement traceability that helps to expedite, shorten the life cycle of this implementation roadmap.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you. So at the end of the day, the answer is we have people who have huge project experience, understand the leasing world, understand finance applications, and can apply all of that knowledge and expertise to the 842. So thank you, Susanto.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll begin to wrap up, folks. First, I want to launch just one more poll to ask if you would help us understand, what are you looking for in a leasing solution? Most purely compliance, administration, compliance and admin, or not sure? We'll keep this one a little bit shorter. All All right. Looks like almost many of you have voted. We'll give another second or two. All right. So thank you, everybody, for voting. 12% of you are looking for purely compliance. 60% are looking for compliance and administration. 28% of you are not sure. So the good news is SAP Lease Administration by Nakisa is purpose-built to help you comply with the new regulations, ASC 842, IFRS 16. It is designed to handle both of those regulations, so that's a value to you, and it's designed to provide great value. Your big challenges are the massive changes to the way leases are accounted for, need for SOX compliant controls to satisfy auditors, including SAB 74, and the complex data gathering and retrieval. The great news and big opportunity for you is integration with lease administration, with lease accounting in one system. So the 60% of you who are looking for something that both complies and allows you to do the administration and accounting in one system, Nakisa is your answer. You'll save time, money, and resources with a tool that does all of that together in a single integrated platform. The integrated tools for data loading with tagging, I think you'll find is a huge advantage for you, as not only you begin to load and review your leases, but as you continue to monitor and manage those ongoing. As I said, it complies with ASC 842 and IFRS 16, as well as all of the local GAAP. Key for those of you who are on SAP is it has native integration with ECC, which is a great opportunity for you. It means that everything you do is integrated natively back and forth, and you can work very easily. Having said that, it also works very well with external systems using APIs and other tools. So what it allows you to do at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is SLAN, or SAP Lease Administration by Nakisa's 4.0 system, provides a ton of new features that you've asked for, that we're finding our clients are asking for, and it allows you to get control of all of your aspects of leasing. In addition, by combining that with the expertise provided by Bramasol, leveraging the laser methodology, you can have a leasing solution that meets your needs both from an administrative and accounting perspective and allows you to comply. So with that, we'll wrap up. We're at the top of the hour. I want to thank my speakers, Susanto, Zaina, and Naveed for their time. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. We'll be publishing it very shortly to the website, and everybody have a terrific day.